if you say you're going to school for, I don't know, like acting or
sociology. Go ahead, you can say it. Sociology.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, oh, what are you gonna do with that?
So this is the idea. We talk about helicopter moms as being like Korean, Japanese, Chinese, Asian moms, right? East Asian moms. But Africans across the board are helicopters. Also, parents are very often. Yeah.
I was gonna say that even now, like when you're in college, they question sometimes why you're doing social things. Like if it doesn't pertain to school, they're gonna be like, oh, why do you need to do that? Like, why do you need to go to a club meeting? Or why do you need to you're there for school, so just focus on your school. And it's like, no, you need to make connections that way, that when you graduate, you have to kind of explain that to them.
So my parents came from Greece, but I consider myself American first, Greek second. How long, so if I went to Africa, how long would I have to stay there and build a family and become part of the culture until I'm African, or am I never African and I'm always an outsider?
Have any of you felt or heard about in your families, felt any animosity from African Americans or the Black community?
Why do Africans have the perceptions that Americans are lazy? And another question is, why do Africans think African Americans have no culture?
So take that idea of really strict, education's important. Do you see that as unique as part of Africa? Do you, just the four of you, see that as part of Africa? Or is it unique to your experience? Or do you I think what he's saying, this is a stereotype of Asians, right? Education's everything.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. When I meet an African, I'm like, wait, hold on. I can guess your major. What are you doing here?
Yeah.
It's if you're not going to school for law, doctor, engineer, something that can make lots of money, and like you said, for them to brag to their friends about you, then they'll look at you oh, you're not. They'll kind of shame you sometimes for not doing one of the the top things in university or something that.
Yeah. And how and what's your but in Liberia, same thing?
Yeah, that's most West Africa. I think African in general. If you say you're going to school for, I don't know, acting or
sociology. Go ahead, you can say it. Sociology.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, oh, what are you gonna do with that? What are you gonna do? Doctor or something? And when you're younger, they already start telling the kids, oh, she's gonna be a doctor. Oh, she's gonna be a lawyer. It's they start that from an early age. So
my parents really pushed being either a doctor, engineer, lawyer, something that would earn high money. But I feel it's more towards they want us to be able to support ourselves, after we leave home and get married and stuff, which I understand. But I think most, at least from my experience, I think most African parents, do want their kids to do engineering, medicine, something like that.
Hey, you guys, you mentioned being strict. Can you say something about that? Because Africans are known to be really, really strict parents.
So, I don't know. Well, there's something. So, for one, I didn't have my first cellular, I didn't have my first phone till freshman year of high school. And I am still not allowed to have sleepovers at my age of 20. After I graduated, my parents let me go to Deep Creek, Maryland. It's this woodsy, nice. Yeah, it was nice with my friends, and that was my first time I could sleep somewhere else than my house.
Whoa, seriously?
Yeah.
Yo, that's strict, man. So it's really holding it down. This is the stereotype of Africans. It's the same. Would you say that with your African back home, the strictness?
Yeah, I would.
Do you have anything to add to that? What would you add to it?
The same thing that my parents were my mom was a helicopter mom where I couldn't do much unless I was in her sight, and if it didn't pertain education, then I couldn't do it, or she wouldn't allow it, basically.
So this is the idea. We talk about helicopter moms as being Korean, Japanese, Chinese, Asian moms, right? East Asian moms. But Africans across the board are helicopters. Also, parents are very often, yeah.
I was gonna say that even now, like when you're in college, they question sometimes while you're doing social things. Like if it doesn't pertain to school, they're gonna be like, oh, why do you need to do that? Like, why do you need to go to a club meeting? Or why do you need to just, you're there for school, so just focus on your school. And it's like, no, you need to make connections that way, that when you graduate, you have to kind of explain that to them, like you need to do this, I need to go to this place because you need like the connections also. But yeah, they only see it as you're trying to waste away your time instead of studying.
Oh my God. I wouldn't have done very well with African parents, man.
So you guys all identify as African, and as maybe some of you as American at the end. Smart? Yeah. I'm assuming you all identify as American as well, from Philly, right?
I have multiple parts of my identity, and I identify with it, in different ways. But tell me a little bit about like what you're thinking behind your question.
So my question is kind of a generic. How long do you have to be somewhere? How far down the line do you have to go that you no longer are part of where you're from, and you've now picked up a new identity? So my parents came from Greece, but I consider myself American first, Greek second. How long? So if I went to Africa, how long would I have to stay there and build a family and become part of the culture until I'm African? Or am I never African and I'm always an outsider? Or do you guys always feel like outsiders and you never fully integrate into your new society? So for the rest of you there, you will always be African, or will you never truly feel I am now an American with African ancestry, but I'm American first?
Okay. I actually have a question for you. Why do you identify as Greece first? Like, what experiences do you have that made you as an American first, Greece second? Tell me a little bit about why you do that.
I say I'm American first because I was born here. I have an American passport.
Yeah.
I have American citizenship.
Yeah.
And I have been blessed to be born in this country, so I take pride in my country and my flag. Yeah. But I am very much Greek. My ethnicity is very much Greek. I trace half my lineage there. I experience a lot of the culture. My grandparents are very Greek. My mom grew up half there, half here. I go there nearly every summer.
For sure.
I'm there all the time. But I take part in American culture.
For sure.
Because I'm around American culture more. It's kind of hard to, partake in.
What's American culture?
Everything I experience every single day.
Like what? Like
football.
I'm just asking you questions.
No, this is a good question.
Penn State's big.
No, these
university,
are good questions.
Football. Cars. Food. Integration. All this thing. It's American.
So you're you're in it. Yeah.
I'm as American as it gets.
Okay. No, I got that. So what is it but you guys, are you going to football games?
I just had.
Oh, you go to football. You're allowed to go to a football game? Here, listen, what's your parents' names?
My mom's name is Chizo and my dad's name is Ukwenga.
Yo, she should not be wasting her time at football games, all right? There's a lot of things that she could be doing instead of wasting her time at football games. So just, you need to talk to your daughter, all right?
Right.
So the question, I think what he's asking are some really good questions.
I got one last question for him.
Yeah, go ahead.
Have you ever had an experience that told you explicitly, subconsciously, or made you feel anything less than American?
Whoa, that's a good question.
The very first time I told my friends what I call my grandparents.
Which is what?
So I never knew this. I just called it. So Yaya Papu is Greek for grandma and grandpa. I called them that. I thought that was their names for the first 5 years of my life.
Yeah, man.
When I found out it meant grandma, grandpa, I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But when I first said that to my friends who are not who don't also have very ethnic upbringings.
Yeah.
They were like, that's the weird names.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's the very first time I was like, oh, I'm a little different.
You're a little different, but did it make you feel like
you didn't belong?
That you didn't belong, that you're not American, that you don't belong in this country. Did it make you feel like that?
It made me feel that never made me feel like I didn't belong, but it made me have to explain myself.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have to explain yourself often?
Like
why you do certain things, like why, food. Food's a really good example.
Wait, hang on. No, I don't want to keep going too far because I want to get to some of the questions.
We got more stuff.
No, but listen. No, but this is a really fascinating question for immigrants. At what point? Because it's really cool. Like Michael, what you're saying, like there's like this pride here, right? This pride in the culture. Pride is really instilled by your parents. Pride, and there are other people who are from Greece, by the way, who are just like, I'm Greek first, and they were born here. They're Greek first, and they're like American second. It's all just depends on what your family, how they kind of wrap you in that pride. And but what you're getting at is that idea is like, wait, hang on a second though. How many of us have been told that we're kind of second class or something, right?
Yeah, it just stems from the fact, and I know that we have like other aspects to talk about, but I ask these questions, and it's important to ask these questions because it stems from the fact that it's not just a simple the cultural upbringing determines like how you identify with a culture. There's other factors that impact it, right? Like for instance, like race. Like I said, it's separate than ethnicity, and it also impacts it, right? Like if you see something like perfectly like what's going on right now in the media when they're talking about Haitian immigrants, they're talking about them in such a negative light that they're basically saying go back to your country and get out of this country.
Yeah, think about it. Swarms of locusts, right? They're like the flood of all the negative terms that we're using for people who, by the way, look like the four of you. By the way, the Haitians.
Exactly.
Have any of you felt or heard about in your families felt any animosity from African Americans or the black community?
Yeah. Any animosity or jealousy or from the African American communities, right? Who see you as somehow special or something? I don't know.
Animosity, no, but kind of feeling left out, not being able to connect with them, just feeling like I could never belong in their community sometimes.
Yeah. Once they find out you're Nigerian.
That, yeah. Not Nigerian, and also, I think just Nigerian. It just feels like I don't know the norms of how to common things that they do. Nigerians probably don't do the same thing. The culture here is different than Nigerian culture.
Yeah, like you with your parents, right? You must have black American friends who are like, wait, your parents won't let you what?
I would agree with the animosity in a sense that we don't share the same history. Because at least as far as I know, my ancestry, I don't most Africans don't trace it to the slavery to America, whereas Black Americans here trace their ancestry back to slavery. So I would say, in a sense, that.
And I hear Black Americans sometimes say, "Look, but you didn't go through this. Your family didn't go through what my family went through, and so somehow you're special or you escaped something, and that's kind of a source of animosity of some sort."
I was wondering what your thoughts on colorism in Africa was, because I feel like that's something that's really relevant.
So in Nigeria, most people are, some people are lighter skin, some people are darker skin.
The wealthier people are going to be a little lighter on average.
Yes, but I don't know. I feel like at least in my experience, I feel like the people that are older than me, like my grandma and my great grandma, they would prefer me to be darker. My grandma has told me because my grandma lives with me, and she when I was younger, 'cause I was really light when I was younger, and she told me that I should start drinking more chocolate milk so my skin could be darker.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, no.
Any science, any chemistry majors out there? Wait, so if you brought home you brought home Will as your boyfriend. Look at this beautiful, handsome, dark-skinned man. Not your parents. I don't want to throw your parents under the bus. But other Nigerians in your community, you got Will or you got, well, we could do Marvelous. So you're a lot lighter than Will, but like, you bring Will home, man.
Well, my parents wouldn't care. They don't care, but my grandma would be like, oh, like they prefer Will. She prefer Will.
She prefer Will.
Yes.
But colorism would be like, that guy. He's a little dark. Man. Yeah. And
I feel like it depends on the person.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Totally depends on the person.
Yeah.
But across the board, there is a colorism thing happening. Yeah. Just like here, it's happening in Africa. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have it as much. Like if the person is good looking, they're good looking. It doesn't matter what color they are. Mm-hmm. That's what we think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Some parts of Africa is definitely because of colonialism.
Yep.
And the lighter you are is seen as you have more wealth, you have more money, and you look, better and
And you have privileges, right? And the lighter skin black people with lighter skin experience less discrimination and experience more doors that open more readily and more quickly. I mean, that's the thing that we deal with.
I'm from Maryland, by the way, and there's a large population of Africans, so I've ran into a lot of Africans. Why do Africans have the perceptions that Americans are lazy? And another question is, why do Africans think African Americans have no culture?
So Americans in general being lazy, or African Americans being lazy, or both? It's both, yeah. Yeah, y'all there is a thing here that Americans, Americans are lazy. That's a thing. Y'all kind of look down, it's a thing, right? Can I just, She's saying it's a thing. I'm like, man, I've been around the block. You're not seeing that?
No, not around me. I don't hear conversations of oh man, Americans are so lazy. We don't. The thing about it is we don't concentrate much on other, I don't want to say we, but my country, we don't concentrate much on other people and what they're doing and their laziness. It's so focused on us and how we can excel and put a name on our country people as a whole. So if you're hearing things like that, then it's a person-to-person basis and not really the whole entire.
Hey, little final thing here, and then we got. Dude, do you have a quick response to that? Because we're gonna. It's got to be 20 seconds.
All right. Yeah. So on a person-to-person basis, that's not really my experience, right? Because a lot of Africans that come to this country quickly start to understand the racial hierarchy. But I do understand that in social media, in common conversations, that is a thing that's heard of, and that's a problem because a lot of people don't fully. You hear that from people that don't fully understand how unfair this country is. So
how unfair things can be. Yep.
Right. But those who learn about it, they understand it.
All right. Do you have one quick thing? What do you want people to know?
That Liberia was a country one of the countries that they sent freed slaves to. So it was established by freed slaves, and there were natives living there. So we have had relations with freed slaves, and there were the war that happened in Liberia was due to a rebellion against the freed slaves who turned into miracle Liberians. So a Liberia culture is heavily Western influence, American influence,
Which
the
why
flag.
Your capital's Monrovia.
After the president James Monroe. So everything we are. We have our own culture, but it's it's very Western.
Yeah. Hey, can we give a hand to our? Okay. Right.